So this recitation of the Heart Sutra is just going to be the reciting of it, and we will talk about it as we further examine our understanding of the two truths. Thus did I hear at one time the Bhagavan was dwelling on massive Vulture's mountain in Rajagirha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara: how should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that, and the Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Sharadwatiputra: Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound perfection of wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five aggregates as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty, emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form, and form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, feelings, discriminations, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no feeling, no discrimination, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. There's no visual form, no sound, no odor, no taste, no touch, no object of touch, and no phenomena. There is no I element, and so on up to and including no mind element and no mental consciousness element. There's no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on up to and including aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there's no suffering, no origin, no cessation, no path. There's no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there's no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the endpoint of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifestly, completely awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth, since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared Tadyatha, Om Gaté Gaté, Paragaté, Parasamgaté, Bodhi, Soha. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bhagavan arose from the concentration and commended the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage. It is like that. It is like that. One should practice the profound perfection of wisdom just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan, having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, those surrounding in their entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras, Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised that spoken by the Bhagavan. Now, what's happening here in this sutra is the Buddha is already in meditation. They're sitting at the top of Vulture Peak, and everyone is starting to go into their own, meditation. It might have happened at the end of a teaching session, or it might have been the time of day that they were meditating. But Avalokiteshvara, who is an Arya, according to this teaching, it says Bodhisattva, meaning he's committed to the achieving enlightenment for the sake of all other beings. And Mahasattva means he's a great being, He has given up worldly things, and he's an Arya. He has seen emptiness directly. He has already had the result of the profound perfection of wisdom. So as an Arya, when it says Bodhisattva, Mahasattva, Arya, those are his titles and his accomplishments. Avalokiteshvara is his name. He is starting to go into this meditation, and so he's doing his analysis before he goes into a fixed deep state. Buddha is already in that deep state called Samadhi. Now Shariputra asks him these questions. How do we practice? How does a son of the lineage practice? And quickly Arya Avalokiteshvara reminds him that any son or daughter, there's nothing specific about your gender here, that your mind can see the profound perfection of wisdom. It's said, the Buddha said that if you're going to achieve enlightenment in one lifetime, it's best if you have the body of a male. That's simply because there are things that a female body goes through cyclically that interrupt her ability to hold her mind that men just don't have. Women have it harder than men do because their bodies are chemically different. They are little factories that create more humans. So what happens is that chemistry makes it more difficult, but not impossible. And that's what Buddha said. And that's what we're saying here, is that any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage. He goes on to then explain the breakdown of this. Nothing has any inherent nature. Nothing out there is free from the process that we've been talking about. It's empty of existing apart from this process of causality. Because it comes into being because of causes and conditions, it's empty of not coming into being from causes and conditions, you see? So the hard part is when it starts going into all these negations. There's no eye, no ear, no nose, no body, no mind. Clearly I have them. But what he's saying is that there isn't an unempty I. There's not an I that is inherently existent. How would my eyes change if they were inherently existent, if they were not caused, if they were not produced, and so on? So remember, as you're going through it, if you start to get confused, go, no suffering, no causes, no cessation, no path. That's the Four Noble Truths. Are we saying that the Four Noble Truths are empty? Yes, we are. We're saying that the Four Noble Truths are empty. They are not unempty. I mean, you could say that the causes of suffering, the noble truth of the causes of suffering, it's empty in the sense that it is something that is changing. It is something that comes into being because of causes and conditions and so on. We wouldn't be able to have access to this knowledge if it was unchanging, if it was unproduced and so on. It would be self-powered, and so it would happen to everybody. Likewise, everyone would have to experience it the exact same way. So that's what we're saying. Now the mantra, let's move on, because the mantra has 5 parts to it. Gaté. So the mantra itself is Om Tadyatha Om Gaté Gaté Paragaté Parasamgaté Bodhi Soha. But the inner workings of it are Gaté Gaté Paragaté Parasamgaté Bodhi. Literally, this translates to gone, gone, gone beyond, gone completely beyond, awakened. Okay, and the oral transmission of this makes each syllable have reference to these 5 paths, and these are 5 stages of mind that we develop as we progress along the spiritual path to reach liberation and enlightenment. So for all practitioners, progress in terms of these 5 paths is referring to 5 levels of our mind, of our stream of consciousness, which we achieve and lead to our goal. First one is the path of accumulation, and this is where your consciousness is developing and gathering more energy to understand emptiness, to be drawn to this doorway to get out. And the second one is called, and that's called Sotlam in Tibetan. Jorlam is the path of preparation, and this is where we're going through 4 more subtle stages of understanding on an intellectual level the concept of ultimate truth, of emptiness. And at a certain point of intellectually understanding this, the Dalai Lama has said, Jetsun Kappa has said, Nagarjuna has said, the Buddha has said, that if you intellectually understand this, that alone shuts off the possibility of lower rebirths. Okay? Now, path 3, which is, so we've got Gaté. These two are the path of accumulation, the path of preparation. Paragaté, which means gone beyond, and this is the path of seeing, Tonglam. And Tonglam, or the path of seeing, is where the consciousness in deep meditation, and it's a type of consciousness you have developed through the path of preparation, 5 types of clairvoyance. And you have to be using this clairvoyance, this remote viewing. It has to be beyond the brain, that you're holding the mind on the concept of emptiness in order to see it directly. Because as I'm looking at you, I'm not seeing you directly. I'm using my eyeballs, I'm using my optic nerve, I'm using my occipital lobe to create the mental image of the camera in front of me. But through remote viewing, the consciousness bypasses the senses. And if you want to learn a little bit more about remote viewing and research that was done by a really amazing researcher, and incidentally was given lots of money by the CIA to study remote viewing, Russell Targ, T-A-R-G, a TED Talk that will blow your mind, and he has many wonderful books, one called The End of Suffering, in which he starts to show Nagarjuna's teachings about the development of remote viewing. Here, 2,000 years later, and we could have been removing suffering a lot faster if more people would have gotten into it, if they could have had TED Talk way back then. Okay, now then, the path of familiarization, when you come out of the direct perception of emptiness, where you've seen causality directly, you've seen how things are functioning, the karmic mechanism starts to fall apart, and you can't gather negative karma anymore because you've seen through the illusion. Now, things still appear to be self-existent, but you know you're wrong. You have seen directly that you're incorrect. You've seen beyond the way your primitive little brain has put things together. You've evolved past that, but you're still in that body. The path of familiarization, or Gomlam, sometimes it's translated as the path of meditation, and that's very confusing because just Gom is a word used for a type of meditation, but we're not talking about, you have to be meditating long before you get on this path, so don't be confused. And translators need to do a little bit more work in understanding the different types of definitions and when they're applied, and how to bring about a better English word to get that understanding. The path of familiarization, what are you doing? You are familiarizing yourself with what you saw in the direct perception of emptiness and the appearance of phenomena. The way you look at things and other people and yourself, you know you're wrong because the way the images are coming to you are still wrong. They appear to be self-existent, but you know. It's no longer a holding on faith of authority because the Buddha told you, because your teacher told you. It's no longer holding on to the faith from your logic and reasoning. It's now come from Munsum Sema, a direct perception. You've seen it yourself. And then finally, the path of no more learning is the state of a Buddha, and that is Bodhi. So you have Gaté, Paragaté, Parasamgaté, Bodhi, or Tsotlam, Jolam, Tonglam, Gomlam, Milotlam. The path of accumulation, the path of preparation, the path of seeing, the path of familiarization, and the path of no more